What's going on, guys? The Canada men's national team has just announced their 60-man preliminary roster for the upcoming Nations League semifinals at the end of March, and I'm going to be reacting to it for the first time for you guys, giving you guys my opinions and thoughts in the rest of this video. But of course, before I get into it, please leave a comment down below your thoughts on this Canada men's national team roster they just announced. We're going to be reading and reacting to as many as we can. Leave a like if you're excited for Canada's chances in the Nations League semifinals, and of course, help us out by subscribing down below. We're trying to get to 5,000 by the end of the year, so if you guys want to help us out, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'm going to go over all 60 players, so if you already know or you don't want to hear, make sure to skip ahead. I'll put timestamps down below, but for those who don't know, here are the 60 players split up by position. Starting in goal, we have a few usual suspects. We got Maxime Crepeau, Ian Sinclair, Tom McGill, James Pantemis, Jonathan Seurat, Gregory Swiderski. That rounds out 6 goalkeepers, a part of the 60-man squad. And of course, if I ever pronounce any of these names wrong, I fully apologize. It's not my intention. Let's move over to the fullbacks. Sam Adekugbi. I apologize, from the Whitecaps. Zorhan Bassan, Zachary Brault Gillard, Alfonso Davies, Raheem Edwards, Alistair Johnston, Richie Larea, and Nico Segur. Center backs, awesome. Clovis Archange, Moise Bombito, Derek Cornelius, Luke DeForgerolis, I always forget how to pronounce his name, Kyle Hibbert, Jovan Ivanisevic, James Knight LaBelle, Lucas McNaughton, Zach McGraw, Kamal Miller, Justin Smith, and Joel Waterman. Interesting. Let's move over to the midfielders. Matteo Chonier, Stefan Estaquiao, Mark Anthony Kay, Ishmael Kone, Jonathan Osorio, Harry Patton, Samuel Piet, Ralph Priso, Nathan Saliba, and Kosi Thompson. Let's move over to the wingers, and Jesus Christ, it's going to be hard. Tejan Buchanan, Theo Corbianu, Ali Ahmed Jr., Hoylett, Jaquiel Marshall Reddy, Jaden Nelson, and Jacob Schaffelberg. And then we got the forwards, which is the most exciting part of this whole video, in my opinion. There's a lot of them. All right, here we go. Stefan Afrifa, Theo Bear, Jonathan David, Daniel Jebison, which is a huge addition, DeAndre Kerr, Santiago Lopez, Tani Aluwasei, Jason Russell Rowe, Andre Ali Gayaprasad, Charles Andres Brim, Promise David, another huge addition there, Shola Jimo, Kyle Laren, Diu Merci Michael, Kwasi Poku, and Kimani Stewart Baines. Oh my God. Okay, so I apologize again if I pronounce any of those names wrong. I hope I got the point across for all 60. If there's anybody that you don't know, feel free to look it up. Yeah, big roster. Arguably the best roster that Canada has ever had. The fact that they have 60 players of this quality to fill out this good of a roster, fantastic. Canada fans, I know you are, but if you're not, you should be excited for the Nations League final. And honestly, for the next fucking decade of Canada football. Jesse Marsch is doing wonders for the Canada national team and absolutely making Canada a force to reckon with so quickly, which is awesome. So let's cover some key points about this 60-man we got going on here. Now let's start with the forwards. Obviously, like I said, biggest part of this whole roster is the forwards. You heard how much depth Canada has here. I went over like how many names were there? There was like, let's see, like 16 names as just forwards alone. So much depth. You obviously have the likes of Jonathan David. You have Kyle Laren involved per usual. But there are 2 names here in the attacking output that are huge for the Canadian men's national team. That's going to be Promise David and Daniel Jebison, who have long been touted as 2 of the best dual nationals that Canada could potentially get for the long term, and they got them. Jesse Marsch was able to convince them both in like the last week to fully file their switch with FIFA to switch to the Canadian nationality and the Canadian men's national team. Daniel Jebison, long been probably the #1 dual national for Canada. AFC Bournemouth, he spent a long time over there in their academies. He's an England youth international, and now he's playing for the Canadian national team officially. Yeah, awesome addition. Really provides a lot of competition for Jonathan David and a lot of chance for him to rest. We've talked about it time and time again before. Canada so far has relied a lot upon Jonathan David's output for the rest of the team, whether that's scoring goals, providing attacking chances, moving the ball up. He is important for the team, right? And that's no shade to the rest of the team. He just is important. That's just how Jesse Marsch wants to move about, is rely on him a lot. Because they have 2 new top strikers who can do more than just what Kyle Laren does, Jonathan David gets a chance to rest, maybe not even be a part of the Gold Cup roster, which is huge to think about, that you have enough depth where your best player doesn't have to be in the Gold Cup and still be able to participate and have a good chance of winning the whole thing. Daniel Jebison is a huge addition. Promise David as well, who has been absolutely lights out in the Belgian First Division. He has been top of many headlines so far this season amongst football fans and is a huge addition for the same reason as Daniel Jebison, adds depth. And that is exactly what Canada needs, exactly what Canada hasn't had for a long time. but golly, do they have it this year for the Nations League, for the Gold Cup, and that means for the World Cup too. Huge additions for the Canadian national team. Now, obviously, you have other players, like Cal Aaron, who have been around at least for a little bit. And unfortunately, their jobs are made just that much harder because you have two top talents coming in. But that's amazing. Competition breeds success, right? Between players, between teams, but especially between your own national team players here is what Jesse Marsch wants. Absolutely fantastic recruiting and the attacking front for Jesse Marsch. The wingers are also looking good. You still have Tajon Buchanan, you still have Ali Ahmed, Jaden Nelson, who's been absolutely amazing to start the MLS season so far. You have Jacob Schaffelberg, who has been, key to Canada's success on the international stage. Wingers look amazing. Midfielders also look very good per usual. The likes of Ishmael Kone, you have Eustachio, you have Shionair, Osario, Mark Anthony Kay, Nathan Saliba, who I like a lot. Really good depth there as well. You're probably going to have a similar starting, two or three per usual. That is Ishmael Kone, that's Mark Eustachio, that's Shonier. You know how it is, but that's good because it works. They know how to play with Jesse Marsch's system. Absolutely amazing. Now, the center backs, though, this is where I like to watch outside of the forwards for Canada. A lot of good depth here. Obviously, you have Moise Bombito. You have Derek Cornelius. We all know them. You have De Fogueroles. I don't know how to pronounce his name right. I'm sure I pronounced it wrong, but high potential player there, plays for Fulham FC. You have Ivan Esovic, who is a new addition, great addition, has long also been touted as a dual national switch, and has maybe made the switch to Canada. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but this just shows him that Canada wants him, so maybe he'll make the switch. You have Justin Smith, too, who plays for Espanyol in La Liga. Amazing. Justin Smith also has been long, rumored to be a part of the team, and he finally is here. And, of course, a lot of, MLS-based players here, but it's just really good depth. Awesome depth. I love to see that for the Canada national team, for the center backs. The defense is going to be, again, top of these standings, top of these rankings, and they only get better. The defense, essentially the whole team, really, but the defense included, came out of nowhere in Concacaf and are now succeeding at the highest levels, and they're just getting better and better and better, becoming arguably a top two team over USA or Mexico. If you're a fan of whichever team, you tell me who you think Canada is better than. But they might win the Nations League. They could win the Gold Cup, and they're going to be in the World Cup next year. Absolutely amazing for Canada. Just what you want to see. Fullback wise, you still have Alphonso Davies, Alistair Johnson, Rhea, Nico Segur. 4 great players, not to mention the rest. 4 great players there that all have the potential to be amazing. Obviously, we all know how Alphonso Davies is. Nico Segur is a rather new addition, but also we know how good he can be for Canada. Richard Larea has been around for a long time. Alistair Johnson has been around for a long time. Who, by the way, Alistair Johnston, I know he gets a lot of credibility from Canada fans. He deserves credibility from the world. Fantastic player for Celtic. Consistent starter for Canada. He just gets the job done. He knows what to do both in Scotland and in Canada and in the Concacaf. He knows what to do. I love Alistair Johnson personally as a player. Just amazing. Goalkeepers, typical, usual suspects, like I said. Crepeau and St. Clair, probably the top 2. I would give it to St. Clair. I think that's the way that they're going to be going from what I've heard. St. Clair's probably going to be the starting goalkeeper for Canada moving forward, at least for now, which is fine. Crepeau, obviously, great goalkeeper. I'm an LAFC fan. I love him to bits for the MLS Cup. He deserves some competition. Hasn't been the same player over the past year or two since that time he was in his prime-ish. So St. Clair, I think, fully deserves a chance to be involved there for Minnesota United there, who also could be a top contender for the Western Conference title in MLS. I watched him play against LAFC the other day, actually, and, he looked fairly decent. I can't complain. He looked pretty good. I think he should be involved with Canada. The goalkeeper position isn't the best position-wise for Canada, which we all know that. They get the job done in CONCACAF. That's all that matters. But it's time to mold, I think, St. Clair into the starter, at least ahead of the World Cup. Because the number 1 right now is probably going to be the number 1 around that time. I don't see anybody else kind of stepping into those shoes before then. Probably St. Clair. Or Crepeau, probably St. Clair. I would go for St. Clair. But let me know in the comments who you think you would pick over the other for starting position there. You know what? Overall, though, the 60-man team is, like I said, the best 60-man preliminary roster that I think Canada has ever released. I think Canada hasn't had a bad moment in the past year or two. And that's awesome. Like, being a Canada fan must be amazing right now. And you know what? Good for you guys. I'm a USA fan, a USA/Jamaica fan. Doesn't mean I don't root for Canada. I want Canada to be involved in the highest competitions, the highest levels, the final stages of tournaments. I think that's where they're at now. And it's awesome to watch. I think Canada has a great chance at least making the Nations League final, at least maybe win the Gold Cup, and getting into the group stage of the World Cup. That's all you can ask for. That is those 3 results there, I think, would be a step in the right direction, or a sign that they are going in the right direction for Canada. Yeah, like I said, 16-man team only really breeds confidence, and I can't complain about it myself. I don't think you should if you're a Canadian fan, but if you have any complaints or thoughts, let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, we're going to be reading all of them. I'm sure that one of us would buy Canada national team jersey if they were to do pretty good. If they impress us this year, I'm sure we will. And you know what? I will happily do so. So yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure, like I said, leave your thoughts down below. Leave a like if you're excited for Canada as much as I am, if not more. And then help us out by subscribing, especially if you want more Canadian national team content, because if you want it, we will give it to you guys. It's going to be a big year. A lot of chance for content, especially this next month. We're going to have a lot of content for the Gold Cup, for the Nations League, for the AFC, everything. We got a lot for you guys, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Other than that, my name is Elijah. Hopefully see you guys in future videos. Take it easy, guys.